There's one thing we all hate about playing chess, and that is being stuck. Playing for countless of hours without feeling like you're gaining any rating or improving can feel really terrible. And that is why today I'm going to try to get you out of that rabbit hole, which I think is a word. I'm going to be analyzing a game between two 800 players and explain to you what mistakes they're doing and what is preventing them from gaining rating. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and if you do, please consider subscribing. That would be great. Now, before we get into it, I'm just going to tell you about today's sponsor, Geology. Geology is a company that specializes in personalized skincare for everyone. Now, you may say, Anna, this is a chess video. Why is skincare relevant for me? Well, just like doing puzzles every day makes you stay clean on the chessboard, having a skincare routine makes you stay clean in real life. Geology provides simple and effective skincare and hair care routines that are personalized just for you. Some of their amazing products include their deodorant, which smells amazing, their morning and night creams, their face washes, and a lot more. And right now, for a limited time, they have an amazing offer going on. With code ANNA70, you can get 70% off their award-winning skincare trial, which will literally be personalized to your own skin as you take a 30-second quiz before ordering it, where you tell them all about your skin type. So check out the link in the description to get some fantastic skincare at a very discounted price. Let's get back to the video now. Now, this is a game from a dear subscriber who, for the purpose of this video, is being called Stuck and a Sub because they've been stuck under 800 for quite a while. So they played an 813 and started by going d4. This was a 10-minute game, so it was a rapid game. d4, d5, bishop f4. We got the London. Knight c6. This is not a move that is that typical, and it's actually not considered to be that good, because what you're doing is that you're basically stopping this pawn from pushing, you're blocking it, and actually this pawn right here, a lot of times black wants to be able to push this pawn, maybe to defend this, or maybe even to actually try to break the center, exchange this pawn for this one, so it's not so good going here, but it's not a terrible mistake. So knight f3, e6, just development. All knights are getting out. Once again, in the London, you don't really want to go with this knight over here. What you want to do is that you want to get your little triangle going on. You want to push this pawn. You want to push this pawn. You want to reinforce this d4 pawn and really have it being stuck there. So I don't know if my sub just decided, hey, my opponent is placing their knight there, so let me just do the same thing and I'm sure nothing bad will happen. You know, like a lot of copying going on. I'm not sure if that was the case. Once again, it's not a terrible move, it's just not so good. So now bishop d6 was played, probably because they were scared that our sub was going to go knight b5 and boom, put pressure on the c7 pawn. And now this move, it's very natural. You're exchanging this bishop for this one. And in this position, typically what you'll do is that you'll defend this bishop, you'll go with the pawn to defend it, maybe you'll move your queen, maybe you'll retreat the bishop, maybe you'll move it. But our sub decided to not do any of those things. Instead, they captured the bishop. Now, once again, this is not a terrible move. It's just not so good. It's just really saying, hey, I just don't really want to try to gain any advantage. And the reason for that is because now you're actually giving black the option, and this is something that maybe is not so obvious, but you're giving black the option of recapturing with the pawn. And you might say, Anna, why not take with the queen? And this is the move that the opponent did. Why not take with the queen? Well, actually, because when you take with the pawn, you're going to be having another central pawn. We know that pawns in the center are amazing, and this pawn right here will be helping out if black ever wants to push the e pawn and really gain a lot of center. So actually capturing with this pawn is really good, but you capture with the queen, which is totally fine. And now g3. So g3, this is good. I mean, this bishop has no future over here. It literally doesn't have a lot of future. So I actually like the idea of going g3, fianchettoing this bishop, and then maybe trying at some point to go for this e4 push. You want to push your pawns towards the center. You want to exchange your opponent's center and take control of it. So that is why when the following move, bishop h3, was made, I was very surprised. Because this move right here, there's quite a lot of issues with it, actually. The first issue that there is with it is that the bishop is placed on a square where it's not defended. This bishop is not defended, and you may say, okay, Anna, it's not being attacked right now, but at some point, it might be trouble that this bishop is not defended. The second issue is that this bishop is doing absolutely nothing here. I think that the reason they wanted to go here was because they really wanted to exchange their pieces. I have a feeling that this player is maybe a little bit scared. And I'm getting that feeling from maybe like going for the same moves as their opponent. But this move right here, I actually believe that the idea of this is that they want, if black would push their e-pawn, they want to be able to exchange the bishops and get one piece less in the position. And I've seen a lot of people do this. They're like, if I have less pieces, well, then I can't blunder as many pieces. But this is actually, even though I understand that it's very natural, this is not something that you want to think about, because what's going to make you do is just that you're going to make a lot worse moves if you're just constantly trying to exchange all your pieces. Because actually what this player is not realizing is that this bishop that black has sucks. It's terrible. It's so bad. It's literally blocked by this pawn. It's blocked by this pawn. And if the bishop ever tries to get out this way, well, then boom, there's going to be a lot of light squares that are going to become very weak over here. You don't want to go b6. And even if you do, you're just going to get blocked by this pawn. This pawn is just absolutely blocking everything. So this bishop is actually really bad. You don't care about it. But I have the feeling that, yeah, he was just a little bit scared and wanted to exchange. So this, I would say, is one of the first mistakes in the game. Definitely should have gone to a natural square. Just simply develop the pieces and not really be so afraid, because this theme of always trying to exchange will really, really, really hurt you if you keep on going for it, because it's going to make you do bad moves. So castles, and now a3, and this is also, I'm not sure if the idea of this is that he wants to start creating an avalanche of pawns and just throw all the pawns on the queen side, which I hope is the idea, or if it is that he was scared that the queen or the knight or something was going to get in here, which is not something that you should be scared of. Once again, you want a castle, you want to keep on with your development, you don't want to constantly do passive moves that are stopping your opponent. And now here, the opponent, of course, is saying, well, you're just giving me free time to do whatever I want. Let me do whatever I want. And what do? Boom, they bring the knight up to the center. Now, this square is a fantastic square for the knight. Why is it a fantastic square for the knight? Because white cannot capture it. No. And if white cannot capture it, well, then black is getting a great piece in the center. Maybe at some point they can reinforce that piece with another pawn, and they're going to keep it there. And this is going to be painful to play against. Like, I would not want to play against the knight. Like, this is a strong knight. But in this position, actually, my dear sub captured the knight. And I told you that this was not possible, but any move in chess is possible. The question is just, is it good? And the answer is no. Yeah, it's actually a really big mistake. This is probably the biggest mistake so far. It's actually a really big mistake to capture this, because now after he captures it, the opponent can just capture it back, and now we have a big trouble. And what's the big trouble? That this knight over here, which is the defender of the pawn, is being attacked. And either you lose the knight or you lose a pawn. You lose material. You have to move the knight, but you lose the pawn. And now we can see how good it would have been if he had time to go castles, defend the pawn, and not go for all these sort of small, weird, passive moves that are actually not really doing much in the position. So he decided to go knight g5, which, to be honest, I'm not sure. I don't think is objectively such a good move, because this knight actually has not a single square it can go to. And after something like the queen moving up, defending this pawn and threatening the knight is actually stuck. So I don't like it objectively. But do I like it practically? Yes, I do. I love it. I would have done the same thing, to be honest. No, but I actually think that you should play in an active way. And I think that this is a great way of playing in an active way. So is it objectively the best move? No. But, I'm not mad about them playing it. I think this is pretty good. Because actually in this position, it was not time for the opponent to blunder. Because, guys, I promise you, your opponent's blunder. Like, if you're playing a chess game and you're like, I'm playing a GM, my opponent never blundered. You're wrong. Your opponent blundered at some point. You just didn't realize it. That's the truth. And I get a lot of comments of people saying, Anna, why are your 500s so bad? My 500s are GMs. They're not. You just got to catch the moment they blunder. So In this position, the opponent actually made a blunder. They went knight takes d4. This is a mistake because one, they're just basically saying, okay, let me just exchange this pawn for this one. And now you can just capture this pawn and be perfectly happy. So white capture the pawn. Now queen d5, it's looking kind of scary. The knight and the rook, they're in the same diagonal. Gotta be careful. And in this position, you really would want to bring the bishop back here with threats of maybe going knight fork or knight check and having a discovery attack. So bring the bishop over here would be fantastic. But for some reason, our sub really wanted to have the bishop on h3. I don't know if they still wanted to wait for e5. I'm not sure this bishop, you would really want to ask yourself, what is the bishop doing here? The bishop is going to go there. That's not doing anything. Does the bishop go here? No, it's going to be taken. Where does this bishop go? But maybe the bishop is just hanging out. So f3 was played instead, which, it's not terrible, but, it's an accumulation. Is that a word? I think it is. Of many not maybe amazing moves that just sort of lead you to getting a kind of bad position. But f3, you should always be scared of these moves because your king becomes very, very weak. Like, when you open up squares in front of your king, then it becomes very airy. It becomes, it's like there's a lot of air around it, okay? And your king doesn't like air, all right? Like, your king wants to be in a box, no walls, no breathing, nothing. Like, the king just wants to be stuck. The king does not want air. So you're giving it air, which the king is not happy about. But f3, and now f5, threatening the knight. So knight c3, logical move threatening the queen. The queen went up to d6. And now actually, in this position, white, it's really good to just try to exchange. Something like going, just getting this bad knight out of here. So that when the knight moves and just try to exchange, this would actually be quite good. Because let me just show you, something like this, boom. This pawn would become now a weakness the rest of the game. Now, this is hard, but it's good to know. This is what we call now a backwards pawn because there's no pawn that can defend it. Now, this pawn could push one square, but then this pawn would become a backwards pawn, which means, once again, that there's no pawn that's defending it. So these pawns are actually pretty weak, and there's a lot of ways of getting into all of these squares and attack them. So this would be actually a really, really, really good endgame after exchanging. But instead here, castles was played. And you know what? This is great. Castle your king. Go you. This is fantastic. Please castle your king. I don't want to see your kings, guys, hanging out, chilling in the middle of the board like I see every day. So please castle your king. Rook d8, g4. Here we have a problem again. Now, why is this a problem? This is a problem because in this position, there's many things that could go wrong. The first thing that black could do that, this is actually really, really difficult to see. But the first thing that black could do, which would be a really good move, is a tactic. And at this level, it would be hard. But there's this move, knight f3 check. Boom! What is the idea? Well, the idea is that you're winning a pawn. So you say, okay, there's a free knight. But then black goes, boom, gets the queen out of this file so that all of a sudden the rook is attacking your queen and you're in check at the same time. The king has to move and the queen is hanging. So actually, knight takes f3. This is now a move that's possible. But actually, in this position, even just placing your pawn in front of your bishop looks so ugly. Where is this bishop going to go? You got your bishop all the way there, and now you're just blocking it with a pawn. Guys, bishops are made to be free. Bishops are made to be in long diagonals. Bishops are made to move. Bishops, they're called sprinters in other languages. In Swedish, they're called sprinters. Why? Because they like running. So put them in an open line where they can run. Don't put them in a closed little cave. And this is a great way of putting it, in a little cave. So here queen b6 was played with the idea of trying to go for some discovery attacks in this diagonal. And now knight a4 was played. And this brings me to another thing that I a lot of times talk about, which is that a lot of times, if your opponent is threatening something, just defend it. It's going to be a million times easier than going for a counterattack. And this is a counterattack. A counterattack means basically that your opponent is attacking something, and instead of you defending it, you go for your own counterattack. So, knight a4, the queen is threatened, But there's many scary moves here. I mean, there's maybe even knight takes f3. It's a double check. The knight and the queen are both checking. This queen is hanging. I mean, this position is absolutely insane. I mean, even knight takes e2 maybe is very insane. But actually, black played knight takes f3. And can I just give a big clap to black? Well, I shouldn't give a big clap to the opponent because they're not a sub. But still, like, I think this is really beautiful to find at this level. I think this is really pretty. So knight takes f3 was played, king h1, and now rook takes d1. And that thing started going south. Knight takes b6, and we can see that after a few exchanges, bishop takes f1, a takes b6, and takes. We have a position where black is one pawn up, which is not much at this level, maybe. But it's not just that they are a pawn up. It's also that this bishop absolutely sucks. This bishop is really bad. White's pieces in general are just not good, and white's pawns are just not good. So takes, and now c5. Now c5 is not a good move. Why is c5 not a good move? Because what you want to do now is that this is like a race, okay? Right now, we got whites versus black, and they are right now racing. I mean, imagine that this is Formula 1. You got two cars right next to each other, and they're going full speed. And there's only a few milliseconds that's going to make a difference, okay? So if you're a few seconds faster or a few milliseconds faster than the other car, boom, you get first. You win the race, right? This is the same thing. Right now, black is in a position of really pressing in the pedal and going all in. But what do they do instead? They take a break to drink water. So in this position, this is just too slow. This move doesn't do much, and it's just too slow. I understand the idea that probably what they're doing is that they want to gain some space. They want to try to get some space. But actually, this is not really, this is just not really doing anything useful. And now white actually has the time to get the rook to an open file. Beautiful. And then after that, after b5, which really just gives up a pawn, white doesn't, go for it, but pretty much soon. And in this position, bishop takes b5. It's just, a free pawn. And all of a sudden, white is much better. Look at that. A few moves changed the whole thing. Why? Once again, because black was just not fast enough. Black just decided to chill and not do what they needed to do, and now they're just worse. And they gave a pawn in the process too. So now we can see that this position is fantastic for white. White has an active rook, an active bishop, some connected pawns, and, some other connected pawns. And the king needs to get into the game, but they'll do that soon. So king e7 and rook e8. This is a great move, getting the king to leave. Now saying goodbye to the king. And now, actually, after a game that maybe hasn't been played super well by white, they go and do a brilliant move. Straight up, bishop d7. It's beautiful. I mean, it's actually amazing. It's so nice. Why is it amazing? Well, because we can see that this bishop over here is pinned. So when you put your bishop over there, you're threatening this. And if the bishop moves, boom, then you take the rook. The bishop cannot move. White is winning a piece. But the sad part about this is that after black goes for b6 with the idea of just checking and just basically winning the whole position to take here, white forgets why bishop d7 was a brilliant move. And they captured the bishop with the bishop. And now this just completely goes south because they're giving up. They forgot about the rook. So in this position, they had to capture the bishop with the rook. It was really important to capture this with the rook and not with the bishop. But they forgot. So this was a little bit sad here. And now they decided to take some pawns. And now we got an endgame that's rook and king versus rook and king plus a pawn versus bishop and king. Rook and king and 4 pawns versus bishop, king, and 5 pawns. So white has a pawn, but still, I mean, they're down material. So the bishop goes back, and this, I realized, might not really be clear to many people why this is completely winning for black, and I'm going to tell you why, because, like I said, it might not be so clear. So what you're trying to do here as black is that you're just trying to get the pawns. It's not going to be the rook that's going to win. It's going to be your pawns, and the rook is a fantastic piece to pick up all the pawns in the position. So Now, black is playing really well. They're just getting up the pawns. And while white is now making the mistake of giving up some of the pawns, bishop here was necessary to defend. But pawn up, takes, rook there, pawn b5. White is doing it right in the sense that they're putting the pawns on a light square. But what black is going to try to do is that at some point, they are going to try to sacrifice the rook for a bishop and a pawn. Because in pawning games, in most pawning games, if you're a pawn up, you're winning. And in this pawning game, if black in some way gets rid of the bishop and this pawn and ends up getting this passed pawn, black is always winning. If this king ever tries running to pick up this pawn, this king is going to go for these pawns, and they're going to win with these pawns. This is how you try to see this endgame. So whenever you get to this position, this is what you need to think about. How do I get the pawn that's basically the furthest away from the king that will open up a passed pawn for me? And you don't mind giving away the rook. This rook is like a rock. I mean, you don't care about it as long as you get the bishop and the pawn for it. So G6, H4. And okay, this move is unnecessary because you shouldn't put your pawns, black shouldn't put their pawns on light squares, as that's where this bishop can go to. So it's much better to put the pawns on dark squares where this bishop cannot attack the pawns, because the only counterplay that white will ever get is being able to capture black's pawns. That's the only counterplay. So H5 is a mistake, but it's not terrible. Rook B3. And now, yeah, actually, white really needed to try to at least save the pawn somehow. Go at least bishop here and just try to save it. White just gave up the pawn. And in this position, black started pushing the pawn here a million times. Like I said, you can just capture this bishop. And even here, it's even easier because the pawn is just promoting. Because right now, if captures and captures, we can see that the king is not in the box. What is the box? The box is this. So, the amount of squares that your opponent is left, that your pawn is left to promote, just take it to the right, up, left. This is the square. The king is not in time to reach it. So boom, 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 you make a queen. So yeah, in this position, black can just capture the bishop, but they just chill a little bit, and then after a while, they end up just promoting, getting the rook, and here there was a resignation. And just like this, our opponent, or my sub's opponent, won the game. And so my subs they said, Anna, I'm stuck at this level. I've played 2,000 games. I'm still under 800, What is it that I need to do different?